Saw that Burn Mage unfortunately fall to the Rogue from Celestial early today. RNG was piloting the Mage. We'll have to see if Pavel can repeat that same result or if Trunks will have a better time up against the Rogue than RNG did.
Yeah, I think Trunks has already lost one game against Rogue with this match as well, and certainly some would suggest this is actually a favoured match for the Mage, but it's very difficult when the Rogue can just escalate far too quickly for you to keep up with, but two Doomsayers is definitely going to be able to help combat an early board from Evolution. But can Pavel do what he's done previously? Can he go for another 3-0 sweep? That's what I'm looking forward to.
There's pretty much nothing that Pavel can't do. We'll have to see if he picks up a hand that makes the job a little bit easier. Missing your turn 1 and your turn 2 as a rogue, however, is very, very poor when you're up against a class like the Mage that you need to get on the ground running. You know, you're going to be slowed down, you're going to run into Frost Nova Doomsayer, you're going to run into Blizzard, so you need to get that chip damage very quickly.
And from what I've gathered from Evolution, they really don't care who they're facing up against in the winners bracket. So even if they were to lose here, they'd still go through to the winners bracket. I think they'd go through as 3rd seed, so they'd face up against RNG. Even if they win, they face up against the 4th seed, which could be Alliance or TSM. They don't mind. They are so confident going into the winners bracket because they've managed to conceal all these decks. They feel like they definitely have the upper hand over anyone that they face.
They're the only team that have such a vastly different strategy going into the next stage of the tournament. Every other team has 5, 6, 7 decks revealed, whereas all of their decks will remain the same. Evolution, could have changed their decks for all we know. They have not, of course, but the teams don't know any better because they have no idea what Evolution have in store. And there are multiple versions of Warrior we've seen, multiple versions of Mage, multiple versions of many of these classes, and that's when Evolution's secondary strategy will really, really kick in, and they can get a lot of value out of that surprise factor.
Yeah, because it's going to be so hard going up against Evolution and going into a blind matchup where you don't have no idea what you're mulliganing against. And that's going to be such a big advantage. But here, Pavel's managed to put a big Edwin on the board, but this can be killed off quite comfortably by the Meteor, of course. Positioning was important from Pavel, even though you're not going into a turn 6 against a Mage. He saw that a glyph was there and a spell has been picked up, so he should know there is a possibility of a Meteor being picked up from it.
Very nice glyph pickup for Trunks. Pavel still has a decent amount of pressure on board from here, but if Trunks picks up a Frost Nova at any point, he's going to be looking at a full board clear. A Blizzard is a significant deterrent for Pavel. And yeah, even here, this is likely to be a full clear going into turn 5 for Evolution. They do have Vile Spine Slayer potentially, but you would need to combo that with a Backstab or a Shadow Step, and just a Patches on board, I don't think is enough resources to expend a Vile Spine Slayer to try to protect this board.
Yeah, you're completely right. Pavel won't really mind too much. He didn't have loads of options here. It just means next turn that he can put a Scalebane onto the board if he would like. Depends what Trunks does here. Trunks, in theory, could just go Arcane Intellect into another Doomsayer next turn just to try and stall his opponent even more. And he's looking in a good position.
Pavel does have the option of... Well, he can Shadow Step Patches this turn as a free combo activator for SI7 Agent, for instance, or for Vile Spine Slayer. There's a chance that he won't find another opportunity like that. Could also set up Shadowblade, I suppose.
I mean, for someone who plays very quickly, he is definitely taking quite some time over this play. And yeah, just playing that Shadowblade does mean you're not going to get the value of about being invulnerable. You only get it when you play it that turn, but I don't think that matters too much in this matchup.
No, you'd rather just have a weapon set up that can clear off a Mana Worm or an Arcanologist, a Medivh's Valet, while you're still able to play down now Cobalt Scalebane or 2/3 drops going into turn 6. Gotta find that edge somewhere.
Yeah. And as expected, Trunks just playing the Arcane Intellect first, seeing what he draws. And now, depends how patient you can be. You can just go for Ice Block here. It's a perfectly viable turn to go for it. And then you can save your Doomsayer later for a combination with a Frost Nova. So I do like just an ice block.
Yeah, now that you've got the Nova in hand, I don't think you need to proactively Doomsayer here. You've got the Blizzard as well, so you you need Pavel to put minions onto the board. You need him to pressure you so you can respond to that pressure.
So 3 damage is going to be important. The chip damage that he might be able to get away, 6 in total from this weapon. But all the resources are there for now. Trunks, all he needs to find is maybe his Pyroblast, and then he's in such a good spot. He's got his Ice Block that's yet to be popped. He's got Freeze, he's got Doomsday, he's got his Alexstrasza, he's got that one Fireball. I mean, even just picking up a Firelands Portal at this point would be pretty much game.
Yeah, just missing a little bit of damage, but if we can expect Alex to come down on 9, followed by Burn plus Block, if the block gets popped into Burn, then Trunks should be looking like he has a 2-turn lethal setup with just one more Burn spell picked up.
Swashbuckler can change his matchup. You can find stuff like Ice Blocks, but Kabalaki is not going to be an influential card at this point.
You can find Acolyte of Agony, like we saw happen the other day.
Yeah.
Actually won the game for the Rogue.
And Swashbuckler does actually win far more games than you think it should by picking up randomly generated cards from your opponent's class. When we look at the games earlier, when they picked up Pyros, for example.
Did you see the AKA Wonder clip?
I have not.
Swashbuckler picked up Cabalist's Tome, and then Cabalist's Tome picked up Fireball, and it was exactly lethal.
Some players just know how to ride their luck.
Some players just have it.
So I imagine more stall now for Trunks. You don't think in any world you need to play Medivh. You can quite easily just Mana Worm and Blizzard here.
Yep.
And you set yourself up for just Alexstrasza next turn that goes towards face. You've already got 10 damage coming from your hand. So like I said, a Finance Portal, the Pyroblast, another Fireball, and you're already winning this game.
Yeah, there is, of course, then the situation where Trunks just doesn't draw that burn, in which case he only has 2 turns of Ice Blocks. I don't know, it could happen, but it is still looking very, very likely that he can close this one out. But it's definitely going to start with the Alexstrasza to the face this turn and follow it up from there. You'll have to block next turn because you will be getting popped.
Yeah, unless Trunks is scared that he doesn't trust his cards and he doesn't think he can get it across a couple of turns. And if that is the case, he might just go for like Acolyte into Ping here, which I really don't like.
No, I think this has to be Alexstrasza. Just kind of have to go for it. Your block gets popped. You have another block to put up with some burn. Then maybe you can Acolyte Ping.
It's whether he sees himself getting more turns for going something like Fireball into the 9-6 and then pinging off the 6-1. It's a very defensive play, but if you've played a lot of games as this mage and you know on average how many cards it takes to draw before you can actually find lethal, then I don't know, maybe Trunks does go for something defensive. I don't think it's a surefire Alexstrasza.
Oh, wow.
It looks like Trunks doesn't think it is either.
This is very, very defensive. You could have put Pavel down to 15. You had another block in hand for next turn, but now Trunks is going to need to find the damage. I mean, he needed to find the damage before, but now he needs to find significantly more damage, and he doesn't have any more board clears. He doesn't have any more freezes available to him right now. I don't know about this, Dan. Yeah, he would have had it.
Would have been there.
That would have been exactly 15 next turn.
And that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. There's a
he would have super
had
it. Yeah, I mean, it's what? It's 2 Firelands Portals, Pyroblast, Fireball in deck left, so 4 out of 14 cards.
But now you've got the damage, right?
Yes. Over 2 turns.
Yeah, over 2 turns. You have the Ice Block there as available. You save the Firelands Portal for last, of course, because you don't want the usual shenanigans of anything popping out that can heal your opponent.
Yeah, so I mean, this way, Trunks dug deeper into his deck, but he gave up 6 damage from that Fireball. So he needed to find 2 pieces of burn instead of 1 piece of burn. So essentially, you're just kind of net zeroing yourself, right?
So this is actually the wrong way of doing it.
Corrupted heal bot is a thing.
Because of corrupted heal bot. But it still works out okay for Trunks because he didn't summon corrupted heal bot.
But still, that's the little stuff. That's the little stuff that once you do run into it, you know, maybe it happens in a really high pressure situation in an important tournament like this, and then you feel really dumb. So you gotta get in the habit of sequencing these things correctly.
Still damages there for Trunks, and he is going to be taking a 1-0 lead here, and Pavel is going to be walking to the knockout stages with another loss, but again, I don't think he's really going to mind because the game plan is simple for Evolution, not to reveal anything and to have lots of secrets up their sleeves for the knockout stage.
Lots of surprises, and Pavel is going to be defeated in game number 1. Now it's up to Evolution to try and counter this mage, but I think the only 2 decks they will be looking to use are the Shaman and the Warlock. Warlock being more aggressive, and mage just kind of dumpsters on Shaman. So I would expect this to be the Warlock. But Frozen has played pretty much strictly Shaman up until this point.
Yeah, Frozen had his go in. He had the 3-0 with the Shaman. He has tried Rogue as well, but now with Rogue gone, you'd imagine that the Shaman will be his. Although Old Boy did have an attempt at the Shaman as well.
I mean, this is the order that Evolution have gone in every time. Pavel, Frozen, Old Boy.
Yes. And to be fair, for Evolution at this point, I don't think they mind who goes with what.
No, they don't care. For them, this is just kind of going through the motions, right? They're making winner's bracket. OM is not. And they want to only play these 3 decks. So, all right, it is going to be Frozen on the Warlock. I do prefer the Warlock over the Shaman in this case. So Evolution is still absolutely trying to win here. They're going to queue their best matchups, 100%. It's just that they don't want to reveal any more information than they already have, so they're going to just queue the best matchups within these 3 decks.
Absolutely. I mean, other players have questioned Evolution's strategy. I mean, like, is it fair? And of course it's fair. You're playing for this game plan, but at least they're still trying to win. I mean,
it's incredibly intelligent.
Yeah, we look at the last 2 series they had. Okay, they lost in Game 5 against Priest both times.
Yeah.
But imagine if they just had that one game, like Pavel had 3 series ago, where he beat that Priest, and they still got the victory, even after leaving Priest up.
And you know what? I don't think this is something that they came into the tournament saying, this is what we're going to try to do. It just so happened that after the first 4 series,
they'd already qualified.
2 of them had been 3-0s. Yeah. They'd already qualified for winners, and then at that point, they can say, well, now we're in this really unique position that no other team is in, where we don't have to reveal any other information. We can, extend our advantage even more. That's intelligent.
It really is. It's playing to the format, and but you never know. They might still be able to pick up a victory here. Certainly, the Warlock going into the Mage can just generate too much pressure that the Mage can't manage to actually take. Certainly, a Flame Imp to start is a good sign. But for Trunks, he has all the options. He can go for Manoem, coin Manoem if he wanted to. He could just coin out a Doomsayer if he really wants to be defensive. Finding that early game really important for the Mage.
Absolutely is. Even more so against Warlock than I think against Rogue. Rogue has the unique ability to remove for very cheap in the early game with Backstab, with SI7 Agent. But Warlock just has such consistent early game pressure that it's even more important that the Mage find the early game to challenge, hit that Frost Nova Doomsayer on curve, hit that Blizzard, because the Warlock will just keep refilling. They're not going to run out of cards. At the very least, they're going to have 2 things to play every turn.
Would you say, because of this strategy, Cora, you think that do you think that Evolution are maybe the favourites going into the knockout stages, even if they don't go in as first seed?
I think that Evolution could have beaten any of the opponents that they went up against, but they did not want to stray from this strategy, so they didn't, right? Like, they may have queued some matchups that they had better decks for, but it's just advantageous for them to not queue those decks and instead to just play these 3 decks, still play them absolutely correctly, play them in the correct order, give them to the correct pilots, and they ended up losing, what, 3-2 in the 2 series that they lost?
And do you think then they're favourites in the knockout stages? I think they're my
I think
favourites.
Evolution can beat everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for here. I think if they've got all of their decks available to them, which in the knockout stage they will, I think Evolution can beat anybody.
And it's just the confidence as well from this team. I mean, you watch Pavel play, and when he's winning, he is literally just laughing in the face of his opponent.
I mean, he comes out on stage, and the first thing he does is fingers to the eyes.
Yeah,
You know?
dust his shoulders off.
I see you type stuff.
Tries to get in the head of his opponents.
I don't think I've ever seen Pavel, like,
Not do
down.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always upbeat, always happy. I guess he wasn't particularly happy when he didn't make the World Championships this year.
No.
Orange has that one over him, that's for sure.
Probably won't be particularly happy when he sees the Doomsayer into double Mana Worms on turn 2 for Trunks.
Yeah, Frozen gave quite the eyebrow raise when that happened as well. He was saying, well, if Doomsayer wasn't enough, now you've got even more early game, but you do what you can as the Zulok. Try and put your own pressure on the board. At least the Voidwalker is actually...
kind of annoying.
Yeah, very annoying.
Like the Acolyte makes sense on curve. The Ice Block also makes sense on curve, but you still need to run both Mana Worms in. They get softened up a little bit, and maybe Frozen can deal with them a little bit easier. And I mean, this is pretty much all of the minion aggression for the Mage deck. You got a couple of 2-drops thrown in there, some Firelands drops, but that's about it.
And see, if this Voidwalker wasn't here, you'd probably just throw this Acolyte onto the board and be like, right, I'm going to draw some cards. But now the Ice Block looks a little bit more tasty, just because you can actually take the Voidwalker out. Buffing the Mana Worms up. And 2/3s is considerably better than 2 1/3s. So maybe you are going for the Ice Block here. I guess you can save your Acolyte for turn 5, Acolyte and Ping potentially.
Yeah, I think I would still want to develop the Acolyte here. I'm not so worried about the Voidwalker. I'd like to get that draw online, especially since, I mean, your hand's decent. You've got Blizzard and Firelands Portal. That's really good. But I'm still looking for, you know, second Doomsayer. I'm looking for Arcanologist to find those secrets. I just want to dig. And now you got to find something to do for turn 4 if you don't want to play Acolyte without a guaranteed ping.
I guess Trunks' fear is maybe like, what, Saronite Chain Gang coming down on 4, and then suddenly those 1/3s are really poopy. And,
Soulfire would have been pretty bad too.
yeah.
Frozen Soulfire is the Acolyte of Pain, then Trunks guaranteed only gets the 1 draw.
So Frozen considering, I presume, Councilman into Voidwalker. I mean, there is a warrant for the Soulfire, but it is a risk, because you don't really want to be throwing away Cairn. But he's going to take that 50-50 and hope he hits the Voidwalker.
And he does. That's exactly what Frozen needed here. Get the Mana Worms off the board. Know that there's not going to be any follow-up pressure for Trunks. He's just going to be playing the removal game. And now the Acolyte doesn't look nearly as solid, because if Frozen has a minion in hand that is, you know, 1 or 2 mana, okay, well, 1 or 3 mana, I guess, because the only 2 mana minion is Keliseth, picks up something else that he can play alongside it, then the Councilman just gets the easy trade into the Acolyte of Pain.
And so, you know, that play from Frozen, a lot of people say, oh my god, it's so lucky you've gone for that 50-50 and you've won it. But he took that risk, and that's what I love about Hearthstone is risk takers are typically very good at Hearthstone, because when Lady Luck is on their side, they get away with it. That's why you see Pavel succeed, because he does just sometimes trust in himself, and he trusts those risks that he's taking. And it rubs off onto Frozen as well. We saw how he played to his outs when he was playing as his Shaman. He was well behind on the board, and he was using things like Jade Claws just to try and compete, hoping that he drew into Double Gangster Evolve, and he did.
It's those calculated risk takers that tend to find the most success in Hearthstone. You need to learn when you can, you know, play to win, right? And not just play not to lose. And those are two, you know, not so different things sometimes, but they can require very drastic, different plays.
Absolutely. Speaking of drastic different plays, do you like Acolyte and Ping, or do you like removing some of this board?
Well, now I'm scared. Now I'm looking at a lot of damage. There's block up, and we're going into Blizzard for next turn, so softening up this Councilman makes a lot of sense.
So Frozen keeping that Cairn earlier from the Soulfire 50-50 does mean it's quite nice here. Unless he does have some sort of read onto Blizzard, then maybe he's just trading into the Acolyte anyway, but I don't like it.
I think you may be going into turn 6. Blizzard has to be on Frozen's mind. I wouldn't mind seeing a trade over the Acolyte this turn and just the Cairn played. There's a lot to think about here. You know, does the damage to face change Frozen's clock at all on popping the block? Could this Acolyte get 3 draws instead of just 2? In which case, you probably want to kill it.
Yeah. Jeez, you don't want to give your opponent that one extra card. If that's something we've seen this tournament, it is people trying to stop these Acolytes getting their value across various games and various different ways of doing so, from just file spawning an Acolyte to soul firing it, etc.
You have to. Acolyte is one of the best sources of draw in Warrior, in Mage. It's too good, you need to give it the respect it deserves. But now with this Blizzard and the second Blizzard drawn for Trunks, I think he's feeling pretty comfortable.
And you see now, Frozen is taking a lot of time over this game. So you can instantly see that they do really want to win this. I mean, it comes down to one of those things as well, banter between the team. You look at Pavel's record, and he's going to be laughing at his teammates saying, look, I'm 10-3, what are you guys doing? And Frozen's, what, 3-3 at the moment? They want to up their own record. They want to come away from this tournament and say, well, I went to the Gold Cup, and I was able to get a positive win rate, and I was able to walk away with $80,000 for my team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team tournament. But these 3 players in particular on Team Evolution are not on a team together outside of this tournament. Frozen, I don't believe, is on a team right now after Luminosity disbanded. So, personal win rates, personal success,
sponsors, yeah,
absolutely.
Whereas,
of course, they're going to be thinking about their team first and foremost, but, I mean, the nature of being a professional video game player, you got to be a little bit selfish.
I don't know.
You need to look out for yourself.
I don't know if Pavel thinks about team first. I think Pavel thinks about Pavel with every decision in his life.
That may be true.
Watching Pavel steal Purple's chair earlier was a personal highlight of my day, to be honest. Purple said to Pavel, that's my chair, and Pavel just shrugged his shoulders and sat down anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pavel see, Pavel take.
Pavel want, Pavel do. Frozen maybe a little bit more considerate of people's seating choices.
This is true.
You know, maybe a little bit more inclined to stand if all the chairs are taken.
And I mean, if we're going to be talking about team dynamics as well, I mean, there have been situations where Old Boy and Pavel have been having a conversation in Russian?
Yes.
And I love how I was unsure about that. And Frozen has just been stood there like, guys, English, come on, involve me. And they just carry on.
I've been wanting to ask Frozen about that because Old Boy and Pavel will literally be having a conversation in Russian, will say Frozen's name, and Frozen is standing right there and can't understand what they're saying.
Meanwhile, look at all this damage that Trunks has been able to find as well. He could set up 2-turn lethal, he's got a Fireball, he's got a Frostbolt, and he has an Ice Block up. So unless we see a miraculous Eater of Secrets that we know is not in the deck for Frozen, I think we're looking at a 2-0 here, Cora, and Trunks and his Mage is doing mighty fine.
Yeah, this one kinda... Trunks just went through the motions a little bit. After that Doomsayer into double Mana Worm opener, Frozen wasn't able to put on enough pressure post-Blizzard. It was just pretty much smooth sailing for Trunks. This one wrote itself.
And I mean, if we're going to talk about personal win rates, this is a fantastic opportunity for Trunks as well to get a few wins on the board. There is high possibility of a 3-0 sweep for him here, assuming that he's going to be going up against a Shaman next, which I am fairly certain is going to happen. This Mage deck does do typically well against aggro. Yeah,
Trunks was a 5-5 game record going into this tournament. Now he's 7-5, could be 8-5, because this Mage deck up against Shaman operates similarly up against Rogue and Warlock, but the Shaman pressure in the early game is even worse than the Warlock or the Rogue.
Yeah. And it's to be fair, it's all fantastic experience now for Old Boy as well. I mean, he's going to the World Championships as well. So he's going to be taking every second he can on stage to get used to an atmosphere of playing in front of an audience, playing in front of thousands of people watching online. So this is great experience for him. And maybe, just maybe, he can do another 3-0 and pull this one back for Evolution.
He's done it before. Can he do it again? I would be shocked if we saw a deck other than Shaman here for Evolution. Absolutely shocked.
I will actually, if we see anything other than Shaman, I'll probably take my headset off and leave. There we go.
Great.
So you're going to have to solo cast if that happens. Are you okay with that?
You know, I'll make it work.
Yeah, I think you could do.
I'll make it work.
I think you do absolutely
I'm
fine.
not happy about it, but I do it, and it's shaman.
You're lucky.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so...
I don't have to do twice as much work.
So game plan does just continue then for Evolution. And again, I'd like to reiterate, it's not a case of they don't care about winning, it's their game plan is they don't want to reveal stuff because it puts them in a better position for knockouts. And at least it's against OM, who don't gain anything from this victory as well. If OM do get a 3-0 victory and people can't say, oh, Evolution didn't try, because they did try, and OM don't get anything out of it.
No, OM will not feasibly be able to play against Evolution in the losers bracket, because Evolution will be in the winners bracket, of course. So, no, it's not that Evolution don't care about winning. It's that they're using the strategy that no other team in this tournament has the ability to use, because all of the other teams have revealed more than 5 of their decks. Evolution has only had to play these 3.
And look, Old Boy knows how to play Evolve Shaman as well. He gets
Woo!
rid of Thrall Deathseer. Who'd have thunk
A
it?
miracle. We have seen some particularly sketchy Evolve Shaman play. I mean, yesterday, that last game was just bad. Really, really bad.
Old Boy, he's a player who, even though quite new, and the opinion from the rest of the Evolution boys are maybe he's not as good as us, but he might get there.
Got great potential.
Yeah. Maybe we're going to see a bright future for this Old Boy.
Even though he is kind of a young man.
Kind of a young man.
He's like 19.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the youngest one, and then I come here, and suddenly, like, half the players are younger than me.
Well, yeah, it's weird. We've got quite a sporadic age difference. I mean, you look at, like, Sidonia, he's like 31, I think.
Yeah, him and Doc are both, like,
yeah, 30
31, 32. And then Pavel, Old Boy are both 19.
And then you've got those middle rounds of casters who are just...
in their mid-20s.
Mid-20s. So
that's how we decide what you get to do in Hearthstone. You a caster, you a player, how old are you?
So actually, once we hit 30, we become players again. That's how it works.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Exciting.
Yeah. Waiting for my career to revitalize itself.
Oh dear. The midlife video games crisis. All right, early turns. Again, it's kind of going through the motions here. Playing to his curve for Trunks, and Old Boy didn't have a lot to actually do for the first couple of turns. Just a Glocka Crawler on 2 and picks up the Blood Sail so we can get a Patches this turn. Maybe clear off the Arcanologist, or we could see the coin into the Barns.
To be fair, I mean, the way Trunks has been drawing, as long as he keeps his goggles on and makes sure he knows what he's been looking at, he should be able to win these games. Doomsayers have been coming out for him. They've been fantastic. He's got Medivh's Valet as clear as well. Of course, that Glocka Crawler gets no value.
Yeah, Trunks has not had one bad start.
And I must say, Cora, I'm really excited for the knockout stages because things then change completely. Not only for Evolution, but for a lot of teams as well. I can't imagine that Evolution will go down the same route of we're not going to reveal anything. They will want to win from every point onwards. I mean, if they win one game, they're already through to the winners bracket final, which guarantees them top 4, I believe. And if they win a second game, they're guaranteed grand final, and then they're guaranteed top 2. That is guaranteed for yourself 70 grand for your team.
That's insane. The work that they've put in over the course of this week means that they just need to win another 2 sets, and they're already, you know, all earning more than 20 grand.
Yep.
That's insane. That really just shows that all of the preparation that Evolution put in has paid off. On the flip side, OM are going to be in that losers bracket, but they're not out of it yet. They're going to have a much longer road to get to the grand finals, but it is still possible. I believe, are we going to have a bracket reset then?
I mean, something that we'll have to double check. Of course, a lot of tournaments do have bracket resets when it comes to double elimination formats, but all of that will be confirmed.
Things could get pretty crazy. Looking at this this grand finals, which will be taking place on December 10th. Of course, we're going to be moving to the Beijing National Aquatic Center after this, and it is beautiful.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting, isn't it? Very exciting. I am going to take my Trunks with me. Not this one, though. My other ones, just to go for a swim.
Maybe Trunks likes to swim too.
Yeah, maybe Trunks will take his Trunks.
You can take Trunks and your Trunks.
So this looks like probably a coin into Aya play. Yep. And maybe this Thrall might get some value sometime shortly.
It's possible. Throw out a Firefly. You could even Thrall next turn.
Things you need to do something soon as the Shaman, because you're playing very slowly at the moment and you're just allowing the Mage to draw into all of his burn, draw into his win condition. You haven't been building up a board whatsoever. Yes, okay, Trunks had a fantastic start. He found his Doomsayer, he's got both Medivh's Valets, but you need to, at some point, pull the trigger as the Evolved Shaman and say, right, this is my do or die turn. I'm going to commit as much as I can to the board and hope that it sticks.
And it's not so much that Old Boy had the opportunity to do this and just chose not to. Shaman is just weaker at developing an early board than Rogue, Warlock, or Paladin. You know, and they follow up the weak starts with Evolve mechanics, which can turn those boards suddenly into something very threatening, with Flame Tongue Totem, which allows for incredible trades. They do have mechanics that other tempo decks don't have, but when you just look at the raw strength of the early turns, it's just not there for Shaman.
Trunks isn't going to let any sort of evolution play happen by clearing everything off the board. There was merit for maybe just going face there if he would have liked, but he's more than happy. He knows that he doesn't need to be playing that kind of game plan.
No.
Old Boy does find his first half of the combo though, or I guess it is both halves if you wait until turn 10. Doppelgangster into Thrall.
And you know what, just looking at the hand for Trunks, he's got a Blizzard, so he can still clear off the majority of a board. He has Medivh. Doesn't have Alexstrasza quite yet, but this Medivh followed by Burn or Blizzard is probably just going to be enough to get him there. Whatever Atiash summons is going to be more threatening than what Old Boy can put on the board in the next couple of turns.
Yeah, it's just going to be a 7/7 that poses such a threat that basically Old Boy's going to have to think about removing. How do you remove it? No Flame Tongue Totem in sight, so you might have to use what your weapon as well as a Jade Lightning. And you're taking 7
You don't
anyway.
like that.
No, you hate to see that.
Then Trunks doesn't even need Alexstrasza because he's just dealt 12 damage to you.
And now even if you're Old Boy here, you might be saying, well, do I have to just play Doppelgangsters onto the board, hope they don't get removed? Maybe my only win condition is just to get Doppelgangsters sticking around so I can play Thrall.
It's so unlikely that they don't get removed, though. If he just waits 2 more turns, he can go Doppel Thrall. But then you have to think, okay, what's the upside of this? 3 7-drops can be reasonably good. You get a couple of 7/7s. They can also be rather poor. So is that even enough to get you out of this?
Old Boy is having to take 7 there as well, and he's already down to 18. And there's already quite a bit of damage stacking up in Trunks' hand as well.
But he has finally put up something mildly resilient on the board. This is just going to be too much, I think.
You just send this to face now, right?
5, 10, 16, 19 damage over 3 turns. You've got a block on board, you've got a block in hand. Let's go.
I mean, the main worry again is Corrupted Healbot, I guess. Something that could put a slight spanner in the works, but even at that point, I think you're still in a comfortable spot. But Trunks ain't having it. He's going to play the value game and not give his opponent any chance of popping any blocks anytime soon.
This is consistent with the way he's played this deck.
Yep.
He's very concerned with clearing the board, remaining defensive. Doesn't want to go for multi-turn burn lethals when he thinks that he could just still fight on board.
Yeah, which he can, and at the moment, until that Jade Lightning was drawn, it was a very difficult turn for Old Boy. I mean, even now, with the Jade Lightning, it's still not good. You're still using all your resources just to clear off the board, and that's why Medivh works out so fantastically in this matchup as well. As that Trunks can just get value after value, and I think slowly but surely, we're getting closer to Evolution losing this series 3-0. A good confidence booster for OM going into the knockout stages, that's for sure. Even with them knowing Evolution's game plan, at least Trunks can say, well, you know, I just 3-0'd one of the best teams in the competition.
That's got to be a huge personal confidence builder for him. And I don't think Evolution's going to be too broken apart after this. Yes, of course, they would have loved to win. They still queued their decks in the correct order. But since they hit 4-0 3 days ago, they knew that they'd already accomplished their major goal, and now they can just try and get those little bits of advantage going to the next stage of the tournament. That's what they've been doing here with only queuing these 3 decks over the last several days.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
And
You feeling stealthy, Dan?
very stealthy
Sneaky.
indeed. I mean, old boy can devolve these to try and find some sort of clear with Bloodlust, but
This is...
look at all of that damage for Trunks. It is a shame that Evolution haven't been able to pick up anything from this series. But as we've said several times now, game plan was there from the beginning. The game plan is still there for the knockout stages. It does mean, as far as I'm aware, they will be facing off against RNG in the winners bracket, and it means Celestial will actually go through to the knockout stages as first seed, Cora.
Yeah, Evolution's net score after this is going to be significantly lower than it was going into this. But the first tiebreaker is, of course, head-to-head. And Celestial and RNG have the same score, but Celestial beat RNG today. So Celestial in first place, RNG in second, and then Evolution and, well, it's either Alliance or TSM looking at that 4th spot.
Well, I guess that could throw a spanner in the works. Evolution did lose to Alliance, of course, so if Alliance were to win, actually it would be Alliance that would face RNG, and it would be Evolution that would fall to that 4th seed instead. So I won't... Maybe I shouldn't have... spilled my beans too quickly.
Old boy's at 13. Doomed Apprentice means that... nah, you just go through it with the minions on board. All right. It was almost enough.
Yeah.
It was almost... I mean, it was really cool. We had the Acolyte of Agony for some lifesteal, the Doomed Apprentice, the Tyrion. It was great, but it wasn't good enough. And that's going to be a 3-0 sweep by Trunks. Evolution go into a 4-3 record, OM to a 3-4. And even still, OM cannot make it to the winner's bracket, but these records have been so close. The worst record in the tournament being a 3-4 match score. That's